Who are your content allies on campus? How do you work with IT? What's
that? I said everyone. I mean, seriously. So I'm thinking, so I've only been at Wellesley since January, so I'm thinking about the last experience that I had at a university, which is that you have to have, in my experience, you have to have really good relationships with pretty much everybody. So where does the content come from? It comes from admissions, it comes from student life, it comes from all the academic departments, it comes from development and online relations. And so to answer your question, yes, you know.
Yeah, I work in interactive design. I used to work in editorial. There's a lot of, it's all under a creative services umbrella. So everybody, all the different offices there produce content with each other. They're all kind of working together, but they're all kind of, I mean, we're all still very separate. We all have our own different work cultures and approaches. But yeah, everybody works together. I mean, PR is, sorry, I'm gesturing towards a PR person. PR is on the other side of campus, which at BU is like a mile away. But just with regular meetings, it's all part of the messaging process.
We're fortunate because I'm in the advancement division, which means fundraising, alumni relations, prospect research, corporate foundation relations, anything like that. We're all in one building now, finally. We have an advancement communications team, which is fantastic for us because that way we can put all of our content into one place and they can make sure the branding, back to your point earlier, the branding's all the same, it's following all the brand guidelines and the visual identity guidelines. They can make sure that it's kind of the same tone, coming from the same offices, that Tufts Alumni Boston isn't so different from Tufts Alumni San Francisco and New York. So it's nice that we have one central repository, and they are the people that I always take chocolate to whenever I go up there.
You don't take chocolate to me.
I'll start that now.
One of the things that happens at Emerson is it just started happening within the past year. I think the redesign sort of brought all parties together, and then slowly those meetings stopped happening. But the model that I like to stick to, which is kind of a blog post that I have in my head, don't write this if you're writing a blog, but it's sort of this cascade effect kind of thing. So picture like going to the source, like your marketing department, right, owns your website, whatever group owns your website. You want to have, if you're in an office that needs them to give you content, you need to have a representative at that meeting or at the table there. Because what's going to happen is that person is going to bring a portion of that information back to your group, which then can be spread out back to another group. So think about our marketing department. I represent enrollment. I bring that back to enrollment, and then I go to undergraduate and graduate admission, and I go to their staff meetings and go say, hey, this is what's coming up in the news that relates to you guys. So I think there needs to be some representative. I mean, yeah, you can do a lot through email, but it says a lot for just one person to be at that meeting and then spread out the information from there. And that helps a lot with us just to be in the know of what the heck's going on at the college and what news is coming out, what new pages are being developed.
One sort of just small follow-up I have from that question is, I think you mentioned it briefly, is the IT component. I feel like when we talk about web content, sometimes there's a big gap between web and content. How do we actually, often have to work across departments to actually facilitate our content goals technically, getting them on the web, and every institution is different in terms of how they're structured. I happen to work on a blended team where we have web developers in my department who I have office next to. Other people I know, IT is across the campus and they don't talk and it's a problem. So I'm wondering like how you guys face that challenge and how you manage those relationships to get your content, achieve your content goals.
We have developers within interactive design and we're on chat rooms all day with IT, and we develop WordPress themes every day, and we've got custom themes for websites and generic themes for departments that don't require or can't afford to hire us for a custom theme, and that really, working with IT to set those up really empowers everybody across the university to be able to publish their own content, of course. So it's kind of become, I think, the whole WordPress conversion at BU has really kind of become a uniting factor between the design, force and like the info tech guys. So yeah, I'd say actually that's I hadn't really thought about that until now, but yeah, we're all kind of more engaged. I mean, recently we all had kind of a like a get together where we just kind of actually met face to face and interacted in person, so that we could kind of get to know each other because we've been doing so much work together.
I would just add, I actually sit in the president's office, and so I'm kind of this like sole rogue communications person in the president's office, and So as a new person, I had to, I mean, one of the first people I met with was our CIO, who's new on campus, and we sort of immediately formed this bond, like, okay, you like content and I like IT, so let's get together. And so I think we're going to be a really good pair. And I think from my perspective, like I said, as this sort of sole communications person, it just became really obvious that I had to forge those connections and partnerships.
I think in enrollment, I sort of am the blended, like I have part marketing hat and then I have to put on my development hat, and you know, if it takes like building a portal for our students to be able to log into to grab stuff from our information system to display back out, show decisions online, like I'm building that on top of putting out content. And occasionally what will happen is I know a couple developers that work within IT, so if I need to reach out to them, I'll go out to them and say, I'm 3 steps in and I need to get to step 5, so how do I get to step 5 and get their help, rather than go to them and say, I don't even know what step 0 is. Like, what do I do? Because I think a lot of times if you go to IT with this, you know, big project, they have nowhere to start. They're going to say, no, sorry, it's going to take too much time. But if you come with, you know, you're almost there and you're thinking it through and you say, I just need to do this, they'll be much more likely to help you out with whatever content goal you have, which is nice.